now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone. Welcome to your number one source for Native American television news. It's Native News Today. Gerald Wofford alongside with Jason Salzman here on Tulsa CW 1219, welcoming you in for another great edition, another exciting episode, Native News Today. We're fired up and ready to get started.
Absolutely. As always, we thank you for joining us here on this rather cool afternoon, mid-September, and we feel like we got a cool show lined up.
Yes. Well, where's your shades?
That's right. We should have wore shades. This
Right.
This is a very cool show we've got today.
Because your future's so bright. You got to.
We have to wear shades.
You got
Very nice 80s terminology. If you don't know about that, ask your mom and dad.
You knew where I was going with that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Great line.
And for this year's and for this generation's folks, Google it. How about that?
There you go. Just Google it up.
One thing that you won't have to Google is this week's episode of Native News Today, because it's right here, live in your face, ready to go. We got lots of things going on this week, lots of things covering out there in Indian country, lots of big things coming up too in the following week, and we'll touch on that a little bit too. So we've got some first evers, and when it comes to Native News Today, we're going to cover those events because we feel like if it's first ever, it's very historic. It's a precedent for things to come, and definitely we want to be on the scene and show everybody what was going on there. So, Gerald, the United Indian Nations of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas, it's a 3-state area. There's a lot going on. They're having their first ever conference meeting, whatever you want to call it. They were having that first ever gathering there in Tulsa. It just so happened to be right in our Creek Nation's facility, River Spirit Event Center. We were there. So, folks, if you didn't get a chance to make it out, don't worry. We'll have that for you right here. A lot of things they were discussing there, full agenda, a lot of items. So a lot of things getting done in Indian country. Also, the Cherokee Nation up north, Gerald, 1.3 billion impact on the state of Oklahoma.
That really is a big time number there, and certainly catches the attention of everyone.
Yeah, it does. And they had a big announcement at their facility there, the Hard Rock in Tulsa. We certainly were up there. We were invited guests. You know, they realize Native News Today is something that they want to have at their events. They always reach out to us. We're glad to cover them. And so we were there and very gracious to be in attendance with a lot of big-time people. You talk about Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb, President of OSU, Howard Barnett, OSU Tulsa there. A lot of people in attendance to see this big announcement, as well as some state legislators too. So all that and more on this week's episode of Native News Today. We've got some other things we're going to be talking about too. So we've got a full slate. You don't want to go anywhere. But we're going to our first break. When we come out of this first break, we've got a special treat for you because we're going to be talking with American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association. They're coming to Tulsa next week. We'll be on with them all the way from Albuquerque after this first break. You're watching Native News Today.
Pumakasam gadat, ibufanga, nage, adigat, punhayadit omega, ajayididet omis.
Diosnuk, that's true. Throughout the generations, our elders have taught us to preserve, share, and more importantly, protect the abundant natural resources we have here in Oklahoma. We are the original environmentalists and protector of these resources. The Muskogee Creek Nation believes tribal and state governments must work together to ensure future generations will have clean air and clean water as the ultimate legacy. What is good for Oklahoma tribal nations is good for all Oklahomans. Remember, tribes are truly the original Oklahomans.
And welcome back to Native News Today, folks. And now we have a special treat from you. We're going to beam her in all the way from Albuquerque, New Mexico, the land of enchantment. Beautiful area out there. Miss Camille Ferguson. She is the Executive Director of IANTA. That is the American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association. Camille, thanks for being with us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
you got it. And the reason you're on today is we have a big event going on next week with your organization for the first time ever, I believe, bringing the IANTA conference to Native American Indian Territory in Oklahoma, coming to Tulsa up at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. I know you guys are excited about it.
Yeah, we're totally excited. By the way, this is our 15th annual, and this is the first time we've ever been to Tulsa. And so we are looking forward to learning more and sharing the culture, which is Chickasaw, and the Cherokee, and we're all excited.
I think it's going to be great. You know, you have a little bit of something for everyone at this conference, and it's going to be, just all week next week. They're at a beautiful place, and like we had mentioned, and there's all the information on your website, but you guys have, business opportunities, fashion, just a little bit of everything. Talk about the conference.
Well, the conference will actually be kicking off with showcasing Tulsa. We have two what we call mobile workshops where the attendees, which will have roughly about 200 to 250 people participating in that showcase, wanting to go on learning these tours that are taking people out to Chickasaw country and then also to Cherokee. So that's starting it off. And then throughout the week, there are many events. We have the workshops, from the fashion workshops to the culinary workshops to intellectual property workshops to tourism 101. And then one of the greatest highlights, I think, is going to be, we had a sponsor from Martha Redstone, and she is actually coming here to perform here at the Hard Rock, and that's going to be one of the exciting events. The big closing event is actually our awards banquet, where we're going to be showcasing some of Indian country's top destinations. So we're excited about that as well.
Yeah, and speaking of exciting, it's a real exciting time in Indian country as far as tourism goes, just because it's become such a big industry with tribes here lately. And you look at here what we're doing just locally, Muskogee Creek Nation, our own tourism association, doing a lot of things. In fact, William Lowe, our tourism manager, on the board at American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association. So I know you guys are glad to have him, but just tell us a little bit about the organization in general. I know maybe not a lot of people know what IANTA does on a regular basis, but kind of just give us a brief, insight into the day-to-day operations.
IANTA, I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of people, we're a fairly new organization. We formed a nonprofit in 2002. And it started actually from a grassroots effort with the conference 15 years ago, with these people who really had this passion to help tribes tell their own stories, help develop tourism, and get the word out, and maintain the authenticity and the integrity of the people while doing so. Well, IANTA, since then, started our office in 2002, based here in Albuquerque, and started working with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, who actually funds us through a cooperative agreement so that we can provide the resources for tribes. And the resources are included in what we're providing in the conference, but also the resources to help do joint marketing efforts with our partners such as Brand USA, or attend the largest international trade show in Berlin, Germany, as well as the largest international trade show here in the United States, which is IPW, which is normally in Las Vegas. So we, help tribes not just build their infrastructure, protect their infrastructure, tell their own stories, but also promote it in a very healthy fashion so that the people on the other end know that they're getting a quality product that represents true Indian country.
Awesome. Well, we're excited about the work that you guys are doing. Certainly appreciative of the work that you're doing, advancing Indian country, advancing our purpose, advancing our awareness in other people's minds that maybe not know too much about Native Americans and what we're doing now in today's time, modern America. So, guys, thanks for that, and your staff doing a wonderful job. IANTA bringing their big conference to Tulsa next week. And Camille Ferguson, thanks for being on with us today and sharing a little bit about your great work. And we're excited to see you guys.
Well, thank you for having us, and we look forward to our time in Tulsa.
All right. As I said, Camille Ferguson there, Executive Director with AIANTA, the American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association, going to be in Hard Rock in next week in Tulsa for their big conference. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned with that. We're going to take another break. We'll be right back with the rest of Native News Today.
Jahojefkat Paul Fixakodos. Iskanagat Tekobachi, Mikusapkajokonman, Amikusapkajokodos. I'm able to preach in English and Muskogee, our language too, so there's not many that does that today. When I was growing up, that's all we had, Muskogee language, and that's all they preach. I could talk my language when I was small. When I grew up, I could understand what they were saying. We don't want to lose that, language, especially our songs, our native songs and the Muskogee hymns. We want to keep them.
And welcome back to Native News Today. Jason Salzman, Gerald Wofford. As we say, it's very historical when you get a chance to attend a special conference inviting numerous tribes together. For the first time ever, we were able to cover an event such as that.
Yeah, big time area too, Gerald. Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas.
Yeah.
United Indian Nations of Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, having their very first conference, and they invited special speaker Mr. Dan Kirby, state representative, chairman of the Native American Caucus, but more importantly to a few folks around here, a Muskogee Creek citizen. So Dan Kirby in attendance, he certainly realizes the importance of Native issues, but also, and I think he brings up a great point in this story, educating not only the legislators, but ourselves as Indian people and ourselves as tribal citizens on how the legislation works, how legislators, how you get things done on that level. So a lot of great information discussed, a big time historic day at the River Spirit Event Center as the United Indian Nations of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas held their first conference. We're here at the River Spirit Event Center in Tulsa, and as you can see behind me, tribal leaders, state legislators from 3 different states meeting in the first annual conference and convention for the United Indian Nations of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas. A host of tribal issues being discussed today: tribal enterprise, health, the new Affordable Care Act, and working together with state legislators on Indian issues. A great day here for these tribes, the 3-state area, a lot of things getting done.
The power of Native American leadership, which is powerful in Oklahoma. It's our contributions, our sovereignty, our story. It only becomes our story when we tell it on our terms. So we have invited all the 39 tribes here. And this is by their bylaws, this is their first convention. So it's significant that we had Dan Kirby, who is a citizen of Muskogee Creek, come and speak and talk about the process to us, how we can work together, and to listen, to go around the table as each tribal leader had asked some great spot-on questions about, we share this land, what's best for Oklahoma. I think Governor Anatebby, he hit it right on, is that, we need action items. Why is it that the state's cultural center that honors Native Americans isn't completed? There's issues with the baby Veronica, issues that impact Native American citizens in job creation, economic development, and the Affordable Care Act. And as up in DC, they are making deep cuts to Indian country. We have to be prepared, and it's the unity of our tribal leadership here and the power of our story is what we're talking here today. So for the first time, it's really been interesting to listen to the dialogue.
For us to organize can be one of the most powerful things that exists. If we as Indian nations get behind one issue, I'm confident that we can make that issue, we can resolve it, we can get whatever it is that we need. But we have to be organized and have to be on the same page. I think what's important is, in order to be respected, you need to be respectful in the way that you deal with issues. And you need to be able to communicate and educate. I see a bright future for this organization if we have to keep everybody pulling together. The last thing that we want to do would be to come up with issues that divides us. We need to be together in whatever issue that it is that's discussed.
I think that we talk a lot about educating the legislators, educating senators, representatives in the governor's office. There's also an education on the tribal side tribal members, tribal leaders, tribal citizens also are in that same boat. As you just mentioned, we need to get on the same page, and in doing that, to accomplish that, the tribal side, they have to be educated also. They need to know how they can help, who they can reach out to, what they need to do, who they can see, and that sort of thing, because if you don't educate both sides, well then, again, you're not going to accomplish what you want to accomplish. If you see the crowd here, you see the attendance from the leaders, Governor Anatobi, Chief Tiger, Chief Thurman, people have come, we got Comanches here, different areas throughout the state. I think by the time we get to the next one, word will have spread, we'll have more time, and I think this is going to grow to where we'll eventually be able to be on the same page and get the word out that Indians have a huge economic impact on the state of Oklahoma, and that's one of the things that I think that's going to come out of this meeting, is that we're going to get that word out and let people know.
Well, a great story there, and as we always say, very historical when tribes can come together, the first time ever like that, and certainly they will be planning for future meetings as well.
Yeah, you know it. They're just going to keep the steam going, and that momentum that they've gathered, getting all those folks into the same spot, it's really impressive to see that many tribal leaders. So a lot of things getting done.
Well, things kind of happening closer here to home, if you will, specifically the College of the Muskogee Nation.
Yeah, we just had a quick today, just ran over real quick, got an interview with Darren Buzzard, Redstone Construction Services. They wanted to announce a little event they have coming up next week. So we thought, hey, never too late, run over, talk with those guys. They do a great job of employing Native people, being a Native American business itself. They're doing some construction work there at the College of the Muskogee Nation, always building over there, it seems, just always building. So they're doing that, but they've also got some training and classes coming up next week at Green Country. And so with that, I went over and talked with Darren Buzzard, the good people at Redstone Construction Services. We're out here in front of the College of Muskogee Nation, and I'm with Business Development Manager from Redstone Construction, Mr. Darren Buzzard. Darren's with us today to talk about some things that they have going on here at the College of Muskogee Nation. Redstone Construction, Native American company, and Native American employer. A lot of employees, Native American descent with this company. But Darren, I know you're excited about a lot of the things you have going on here at the college.
Yes, sir. We've been able to work with the Creek Nation on a few other projects. We've been successful at recruiting and development the tribal people here as well. One of our commitments to the tribe is to continue training and to help the Creek citizens with some opportunities. The opportunity that we have here, as we're working with the College of the Muskogee Creek Nations to build their expansion, is a first aid and CPR training course. We've got 50 slots open. It's first come, first serve, $15 per slot, but all creeks, we've taken care of all those fees for the Creek Nation tribal members, but they do have to have their tribal cards upon that, coming and registering. And you'll need to call Miss Lauren at 918-845-8581, or you can call myself, Darren, at 214-288-6218. Like I said, it's a first come, first serve. There's 50 slots open. The Creek tribal members are taken care of. Any others, it'll be $15, and it's a first come, first serve basis. And it's actually right next door to the college where the training will take place. And if you'll contact Lauren, she'll give you all the pertinent details.
It's a great thing because Redstone, not only building structures, building construction services, things like that, building people as well, as you talked about with this class. And really, here at the College of Muskogee Nation, you guys, just a few weeks ago, we visited with you as we were unveiling the brand new recycling center for the Muskogee Creek Nation. Now you got a lot of things going on. Obviously, back here, we're just outside the construction zone, so it's a little noisy at times. But you guys involved very much so in a lot of building right now. It's a great time at Redstone.
Yeah, we do it a different way. We call it open transparency. It's where when we're building a project, we include the owners. I mean, in any more than that they see feasible to set in some of our meetings. And when we go out and bid and estimate our projects, we open those up to the owners, and we give our opinion of the best possible solution for the contractor to do the job. And the owners, they have input on that as well, because there's things that we may or may not know about these subcontractors that are local, and also tribal subcontractors that we utilize to the best of our abilities. We are the best at doing this. We've been in Indian country. We've been here for the past 4 or 5 years, working with the tribe in various departments and working with Creek TV, and we believe that it's a good hit, and we've been successful at what we've done so far today.
Like you said, if guys out there want to take part in this, at Green Country Tech right here next Wednesday. So still got a little bit of time, but first comes, first serve. Like he said, there's only 50 available spots right now, and you can call, as he said, 845-8581. Is that right? Yes. Lost my paper there. Hey, this is live, and it's happening TV. Things happen. Darren, thanks for being with us today.
Yes, next Wednesday, the 25th of September, 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. is the training. It's first come, first serve.
Got it. All right, well, Darren, we'll be looking for great things from Redstone in the coming weeks, and I want to thank you for coming on with us again.
Mado.
You know, since the beginning of full tribal sovereignty for a lot of the Oklahoma tribes, and of course that was beginning in the 70s, it was to make an impact not only for the citizens of the very tribe, but for citizens in the state of Oklahoma as well as the United States. The Cherokees certainly filling that bill.
They are, Gerald, and if any indication from this latest economic research study that was released this week, they are doing it to the tune of over $1 billion, $1.3 billion to be exact. Wow. They had a big announcement at the Hard Rock. The Stephen C. Agee Economic Research and Institute Policy from Oklahoma City University did a study about a year ago or so about all of the tribes, and so I think the Cherokee Nation, you know, they got their own with them and thought, what are we singularly contributing? Put out this statistic, and it's a big number. And we were there as they made the announcement. A lot of great people in attendance, and a big day for the Cherokee Nation.
As our partnerships grow and thrive, so does the state of Oklahoma. The Cherokee Nation's success is the state's success. And a strong Cherokee Nation means a strong Oklahoma. Oklahoma is our home, and we have a vested interest in doing all that we can to make sure that the state remains a place where people want to live, work, and raise their families. With that, I'm proud to announce that the new study shows that the Cherokee Nation had a $1.3 billion economic impact on the state's economy last year. The economic impact study conducted by economists from Oklahoma City University shows that the Cherokee Nation is doing all we can to grow a healthy and vibrant economy in Oklahoma, and we are proud to be a part of the state's success.
There's a lot of rather uninteresting accounting that has to take place. And in my conversations with Chief Baker on the accounting and the process behind these economic impact studies, in contrast to many of my clients, at no point did Chief Baker ever ask about which approach, when we had alternatives to take, which one would make the impacts the largest. He always asked which one would be right, which approach is the most correct, which approach is the most honest. And I really respected that as again, with the clients that I deal with, the approach was always about the integrity of the process and ensuring numbers that were meaningful as we shared them. And thank you for that example, Chief Baker. I appreciate those interactions.
In the last 12 to 18 months, Oklahoma has not just beat Texas. In the last 12 to 18 months, Oklahoma has beat every state in net job growth. National champions in net job growth, Oklahoma. In that same time period, Oklahoma has led the nation with the lowest statewide unemployment rate of any state with a population of 2 million or more. And the third category in which we can brag is that Oklahoma has led the nation with the most rapidly manufacturing growth rate, a growth rate of 6.7%. Why do I say all that? I say all that to say this. Thank you, Chief Baker, for your leadership. Thank you, Cherokee Nation, for the impact you're making. The annual impact I just stated, but the month-to-month impact, the day-to-day impact, and the job growth that you've allowed Oklahoma to brag about. The manufacturing growth you've allowed Oklahoma to brag about. The low unemployment rate you've allowed Oklahoma to brag about. It's a team effort. we all have on the same colored jersey, but I want to make sure that I stress that anytime I can work with and be a part of what is happening at the Cherokee Nation, as your Lieutenant Governor, as somebody who works for you, I stand at the ready to do that. Thank you for having me. Thank you for what you do for Oklahoma, and God bless your efforts.
And again, we come to another conclusion here of Native News Today. As always, we thank you for joining us. And Jason, coming out of that story, really a big impact what the Cherokee Nation is contributing to the economy. Certainly the other tribes in the state doing their share as well. And when those reports come out, we'll certainly pass those along to you as well.
Right, and I think it's important to note that just last year, as we said, they came out with a study. We covered it on the show. We talked with Dave Lopez, some of the people at the Department of Commerce. We talked with the Stephen C. Agee Institute. So Native News Today was back on this a year ago. Not to say, you know, we uncovered the scoop, but we talked with this, and we knew the impact that the tribes collectively had, which was just an incredible number. But then you talk about some of them, you know, just like I said, singularly, talk about the Cherokee Nation, the Creek Nation, the Chickasaw Nation, what they do as far as not only making jobs for Creek citizens, providing services for Creek citizens, but giving back to Oklahoma. You know, any one of us that are tribal citizens here are also citizens of Oklahoma.
Right.
And these tribes are essentially multi-billion-dollar companies. They're, you know, organizations, corporations, if you will, whatever you want to say. They are these big-time entities that are going to stay right here in Oklahoma. We have a vested interest. This is our home. We're not going to ship off, you know, to Houston. We're not going to ship off to the coast or LA or anything like that. We're staying right here. And I think, you know, that's something that Oklahoma now realizes a little more at the top level. We're still, every day is a fight for sovereignty. Every day is a struggle to keep that relevance and maintain, you know, what we've fought for to this date for so long. But you can see now that is being appreciated. It's being seen, and that's a great feeling.
Absolutely, and it's interesting how when that sovereignty is exercised in signs like this, when you see how much of an impact it makes, just as we've always been saying, it really does help everyone.
And you have things like the Cherokee Nation and the Creek Nation. I just use those two examples because that's what we've seen in the last couple of years. They put out publications, semi-annual reports from the Creek Nation, where the casino money goes from the Cherokee Nation. They're showing their people not only what they're bringing in, but how they're distributing and what they're giving back. It's a great thing. So, and we love to show it here on the show. And if you can't catch us here on CW 1219, always catch us online. Catch us on some of our social networking sites, Facebook, Native News Today, hey, at Native News Guys on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many out there. For producer Jared Moore and everyone here that makes Native News Today so good, you take care. God bless.
And we'll see you soon. And tweet this guy. He's a tweeter.
Well, I'm still finding out what that's about.
Okay.